Hi, I am Dr. Nidhi Khare. Today I am going to talk about behavior and habits of creative organizations. Students, if you remember in my previous lecture, I had asked a question that do you or your employees need to be artistic geniuses to be creative? So while no one can deny the fact that some people are blessed with a talent for it, creativity doesn't come from a mysterious source. Anyone can increase their creative output with the right focus and environment. Now, in order to build more creative workforce, you should not focus on making people more creative. That doesn't work. You should instead focus on creating an environment that encourages and fosters creative behavior. To help you frame this for your organization, these are 7 habits and behaviors that top creative organizations have in common. I will discuss each of these in detail. Balance problems and solutions. How many times have you heard someone say, "Don't come to me with problems, come with solutions"? Many managers think this way. When they have problems, they immediately look for solutions without giving the problem a lot of thought. Organizations that understand the habit of creativity know that creativity emerges from problems, not creations. Instead of focusing purely on solution-oriented activities like brainstorming and idea generation, they also focus on activities intended to continuously uncover and explore problems. They know that great creativity, much like a great story, comes from the relationships between people, organizations, things, and the unique problems they have. Like a story, if there is never tension, other people, or a problem, the narrative never moves forward. So you need to maintain a balance between problems and solutions. Balance creative thinking, creative risk, and creative action. Sometimes it's possible that traditional ideas about creativity actually get in the way of being creative. Let's take brainstorming for example. Whenever the topic of creativity comes up, brainstorming is the solution that most people fall back on. Aside from the fact that most brainstorming sessions have rules that actually lead to fewer creative ideas. I have also been to a lot of brainstorming sessions that end up being, well, just brainstorming. Lots of talk, a ton of ideas, but not many actionable steps or an environment that supports work on ideas that aren't 100% predictable. When you couple that with the fact that many companies don't have an effective way to try ideas without extensive planning, it's easy to see why their creative progress is slow. Organizations that have the creative habit believe that while coming up with lots of ideas is critical, getting started on ideas is more valuable than trying to perfect them. The next time you have an idea, try building a quick prototype without worrying about perfection. Even if you are way off base, prototypes will help motivate your team and get them thinking differently. Embrace periods of playtime. I grew up with people telling me to stop playing around. I still have colleagues and friends who say, "You guys sure do have a fun at work." My response is usually, "What's wrong with that?" And so, you need to enjoy your work. That is more important. The truth is, play may be more important to creativity in the workforce than ever before. Companies that have the creative habit purposefully break away from the traditional ideas of being serious at work. This allows employees to get better at dealing with ambiguity, complexity, and improvisation. These are the very things that drive play and creativity. As children, we spend a lot of time playing games. We also learn to use pictures and storytelling to communicate our message and explain ourselves. As we grow older, we are taught that this type of activity is frivolous and something that adults shouldn't do. Relearning to play as we did when we were children helps us communicate, create, and improvise more easily. By turning creative time into playtime, you will spark more frequent, and impactful creative ideas. Differentiate between execution and exploration. When I was younger, I had a supervisor whose mantra was work hard and be creative. It would be years before I realized that the efficiency of execution and the exploration of creativity don't go hand in hand. In fact, when it comes to creativity, hard work and execution are overrated. In order for your brain to see and connect the patterns that lead to creativity, it needs downtime. I'm not saying that managers shouldn't demand execution. What's true, however, is that the mechanisms that put you in flow for execution are very different from the mechanisms that put you in an optimal state of creativity. Just as you can't repair a car or machine while it's operating, creativity happens when your brain isn't operating at full speed. Creative companies know that if you want to optimize creative talents, you have to allow people time to work on innovation when they aren't worried about projects, deadlines, or other work-related concerns. This is one of the reasons that play is so important. It allows you to relax and shift into a mode where ideas can be explored, merged, and reordered to find interesting new combinations. Encourage curiosity. Curiosity is the root of creativity. Creative companies know that people who are inherently curious tend to experience life much differently. They tend to learn in ways that people who depend only on their expertise can't. As a rule, they want their employees to consistently ask questions of others around them and themselves, especially in situations where they may already be an expert. If you want to learn how to do this, just take a look at how children explore the world. They are naturally inquisitive and ask why a lot. They don't have to be taught to be creative. It just sort of happens that way. It takes a lot of time and experience and organized education to kill that natural talent. Kids take chances where adults won't because they intuitively understand that if you aren't prepared to admit the things you don't know, you won't be most creative. Externalize creativity with diverse groups. Creative solutions are rarely the result of an epiphany. Most creative solutions are the result of combining elements that existed before. Think about Apple's creation of the iPod. Apple didn't invent the touchscreen phone of the MP3 player. The technology existed, and in fact, there was potentially better technology in both categories. All Apple did was understand that everything they built is about empathy, connection, engagement, and interaction, and put together the best team of people to design and market the device. In a time when skills are becoming more and more specialized, creativity has increasingly become a group process, requiring many skills and disciplines to work optimally. To take advantage of this, creative companies encourage prototyping and sharing often. When a creative idea occurs, they want it to be externalized so that they will be rewarded when people do make connections. Those connections are the final pieces that ultimately create moments of insight. Lastly, you have to be original. Know that being creative isn't about art or being smart. Many times, employees work in environments that thrive on showing how smart they are. When faced with a challenge, the default answer is to show case studies of how they have solved the problem a dozen times before. People are comfortable reapplying a formula that has worked in the past. Whether this is an aversion to risk or a dependency on an educational process that is heavy on case studies, they just try to use a template from an existing success. Which is the reason we see so many copycat products and copycat strategies. Creative companies know that if you are afraid of being wrong or not smart, it's going to be difficult to lead the creative process. Creativity often starts by adopting a child's mindset or looking at things for which there is no existing comparison. If you are only talking about things that can be proven or don't feel alien, you will miss out on a lot of creative opportunities. If you want to be original, then you have to get past this first layer of predictability. So I hope students you have understood what are the common habits of creative organizations, what characteristic traits are visible in the behavior of creative people in creative organizations. Thank you.